Good day, everyone, and welcome to Easy Filipino Mathematics. And our lesson for today is all about results and discussion in practical research 2. So, data collection procedures. What are the different data collection procedures that we can do kapag tayo ay gumagawa ng research? We have these quantitative methods of data analysis. Can be of great value to the researcher who is attempting to draw meaningful results from a large body of qualitative data. So usually we do quantitative methods of data analysis by using statistical treatment. So gumagamit tayo ng mga different statistical treatment, which is yung pinaka-popular is yung mean, yung variance, yung standard deviation, t-test, at saka analysis of variance. So yun yung mga usual na ginagamit, but there are some portion of statistical treatments or non-parametric tests na ginagamit kapag iba yung data na meron ka. Pero quantitative siya. I mean to say, pwede mo siyang ma-solve. The major advantage is that it provides the means to separate out the large number of confounding factors that often obscure the main qualitative findings. So dito kasi since mas marami kang dito kasi the more na mas marami kang respondents, nagiging valid yung result. Okay? Mas nagiging valid yung result niya kapag qualitative methods of data analysis. In a quantitative analytical approaches also allow the reporting of summary results in numerical terms to be given in a specified degree of confidence. So, meron tayong mga different degree of confidence interval like 90%, 95%, and 99%. Usually, pag 95% ka, yan, sa education yan, sa engineering, etc. Pero pag 99%, usually ginagamit yan kapag mga gamot yung tinitest mo. Kasi, kailangan magkamali ka lang ng 99, ng 1%. Okay? That's for quantitative analytical approaches. Data collection or data gathering is defined as the process of gathering and measuring on variables of interest in an established systematic method that enables one to answer stated research questions, test hypotheses, and evaluate outcomes. So the reason why we do data collection or data gathering is for us to test our hypothesis, to answer our questions. Now you have different questions in your research, which is what we call the statement of the problem, and then magiging guide mo sila in collecting your data so that you will know ano yung data na kailangan mo. So, ito yung mga SOP ko. So, ito yung mga data na kailangan ko lang. Okay? So, the quantitative data collection method relies on random sampling and structured data collection, instruments that fit the diverse experiences into predetermined responses categories. It produces a result that is easy to summarize, compare, and generalize. In quantitative data analysis, meron ka na kasing theory dyan eh. So, meron ka ng theory na sinusundan. Um, ibig kong sabihin, meron ka ng mga constructs, no, na sinusundan. And then, naka-structured na sila. Structured na siya. So, you have this instrument na structured na siya kasi meron kang mga constructs. No, halimbawa, math anxiety, that's one construct. So, meron kang theory behind that, bakit mo siya pinag-aaralan. And then, meron ka ng mga different statements na related dun sa math anxiety. And then, gagamitin mo na lang siya ng random sampling para makapili ka kung sino yung mga magiging respondents mo na sasagot dun sa structured instruments mo. Okay? So, next, to obtain reliable information that will help answer the research questions, follow these steps. So, ito yung makakatulong sa inyo. First, determine the objectives of the study you are undertaking. Number 1 yan. Ano ba yung gusto mo talagang mangyari? Okay, kailangan alam mo. At para alam mo kung ano yung lang yung data na kailangan mo. Define the population of interest. Sino yung mga magiging respondents mo? So, dapat malinaw yan sa methodology. Choose the variables that you will measure in this study. So, ano bang variable? Yan, kasi maraming constructs. No? So, dapat alam mo kung anong variable ang sasagutin mo. Kung math anxiety yan, that's your variable. Math anxiety lang ang pag-aaralan mo. Hindi ka na pupunta sa iba pang mga construct or idea. Next is decide on an appropriate design for producing data. Siyempre may ibang design tayo po. So, pag sabing design, meron kang specific na if-follow na procedure kung ano yung procedure mo sa pagko-collect ng data mo. Okay? Halimbawa, kung descriptive, kung survey siya, ibig sabihin, magsa-survey ka lang. So, you don't need to interview people. Okay? Collect the data, and then determine the appropriate descriptive and or inferential data analysis techniques. Usually, in the descriptive and inferential data analysis techniques, we use statistical treatment, and then after we get the data and then we analyze the data, we interpret the data, there should be an inference that will support the data. Halimbawa, nakuha mo is 0.5, ganito, ganito, ganito. So, sasabihin mo, there's no significant difference between these two constructs. And then, kailangan meron kang inferences. Sino yung sasalo doon sa conclusion mo? Sabihin na natin, the result is similar to the study of Reyes 2012. That in his study, ganyan-ganyan, lumitaw na wala ngang significant difference ang relationship ng dalawang variables na ito. So, merong sasalo, merong susuporta doon sa conclusion mo. Okay? Now, methods of data processing. Meron tayong data processing na tinatawag sa quantitative. So, data processing is dealing with editing, coding, classifying, tabulating, and presenting data through chart diagram, or ano pa ba to? um, Figures siguro, na? It is a series of actions or steps performed on data to verify, organize, transform, integrate, and extract data in an appropriate output from form for subsequent use. Kaya nga, tinetable natin yan para mas madali siyang makita, maintindihan, hindi masyadong maraming data ang nilalagay. So, piling-piling data lamang siya na related doon sa research questions mo. So, steps in data processing. First, classification or categorization. So, kailangan mo muna siyang i-classify yung data. Itong data nito, ito kanino siya or kanino siya related. Ito yung grupo ng data. Halimbawa, age. So, lahat yan age dapat. Sex, academic achievement. Ayan. So, hindi sila malito, hindi sila magulo. So, meron kang classification or categorization. It's a process of grouping the statistical data under various understandable homogeneous group. So, dapat alam mo kung ratio siya, kung interval, kung nominal, kung ordinal. No? For the purpose of convenient interpretation. A good classification should have the characteristics of clarity, homogeneity, equality of scale, purposefulness, and accuracy. Coding of data. Yan. Siyempre, kapag nandito na yung mga data mo, na-classify mo na, ito yung mga data mo, no? So, i-code mo na sila. So, gagamit ka na ng, let's say, mga Microsoft Excel, SPSS, yan. So, coding of data is more useful with research instruments or open-ended questions. Coding is necessary for efficient analysis, and through it, several replies may be reduced to a small number of classes which contain the critical information required for analysis. Coding decisions should be taken at the designing stage of the questionnaire. Sa coding of data, halimbawa ako, nag-qualitative ako. So, meron mga interview akong ginawa, series of interview. So, pag magko-code ka, ibig sabihin, susulat mo lahat yung sinabi nila, and then kukuha ka lang ng mga memo doon. Yung memo, ibig sabihin, ito lang yung pinaka-significant na sinabi niya na related doon sa tanong ko. Okay, kasi minsan sa interview, ang daming sinasabi. Pero isusulat mo yung interview, that is what we call transcription, and then dun sa transcription, kukuha ka lang ng memo. That's coding. You will get the memo kung ano yung pinaka-significant na sinabi niya na related doon sa question mo. Sa quantitative naman, meron tayong tinatawag na tabulation of data. Ito yung a process of summarizing of raw data and displaying it in a compact form for further analysis. Tabulation may be manual, mechanical, or electronic. Tabulation of data is classified into two parts, the simple tabulation and complex tabulation. Simple tabulation gives information regarding two mutually dependent questions. Complex tabulation gives information regarding the two manually dependent questions. So, meron tayong simple tsaka complex tabulation. Again, simple and complex tabulation, madali lang naman ito. Tabulation of data, meaning to say, you are summarizing all the data kasi halimbawa, male, how many males do we have? How many females do we have? Parang ganun. Diba? If you know tabulation, yung nagsusulat ka ng mga bars, pwede siyang manually or pwede siyang electronic, no? So how many males, how many females, sa age range, at sabihin na natin 14 to 15, ilan sila? 16 to 17, mga ganon. So that's tabulation of data. Okay? Next, data diagrams. Sa diagrams naman are charts and graphs used to present the data. So ginagamit ito para mas makita mo ng malinaw ang data. This facilitate getting the attention of the reader. This help presenting data move effectively, create the presentation of data possible. Usually, diagrams, we use it in a population. Halimbawa, masyadong marami yung mga ano mo, let's say, mga respondents mo. So, you can use a graph or a map, no, na kung saan yung sabihin natin yung color red, ito yung mas maraming ganitong cases. Ayan, yung color yellow, mas mild yung cases. Yung green, wala silang mga cases. If you can imagine yung mapa, di ba? So, merong mga iba't ibang colors that signifies meaning. So, may meaning yung mga colors na yon. Okay. Scope and purpose of data analysis. Ano ba yung data analysis? It's a process of developing answer to questions through the examination and interpretation of data. So, i-examine yung data, interpret mo yung data, that's what we call data analysis. This part presents the gathered data and the researcher's analysis and interpretation of the result of the distributed instruments. So, nag-distribute ka ng instruments, kunin mo yung mga data, isolve mo sila, so that is data analysis. The data were presented in a clear and concise form, most which use graphs and tables. So, kailangan magaling ka rin mag-interpret ng data. Kaya hindi ka lang marunong mag-solve, you know how to interpret the data. Okay, that's why very important sa quantitative yung statistical analysis na marunong kang mag-hypothesis testing. Data presentation section presents and summarizes background information of the respondents and the data collected through literature survey, questionnaires, interviews, and observations. Data analysis and interpretation is the process of assigning meaning to collected information and determining the conclusion, significance, and implication of the findings. Spreadsheet software. Usually, kapag nagtatabulate tayo ng mga data, or magko-code ka ng data, we use spreadsheet or software. Spreadsheet software or yung tinatawag natin Microsoft Excel. And other statistical tool can be helpful in organizing the data like the SPSS. Readily available computed programs such as Excel and Access may be useful. Excel tends to be easily accessible for most people who have access to a computer with Microsoft products. Totoo yun. Kaya mas madali sa Excel kapag ikaw ay nagtatabulate na ng data. Key components of data analysis plan. First, ano ba yung purpose ng evaluation mo? Second, ano yung question? That's why laging magkatugtong yan yung objectives at saka yung SOP. What you hope to learn from the questions, analysis techniques, and how data will be presented. Dapat alam mo na kung ano yung paano mo i-present yung data mo. Okay? Parang natitimbang mo na siya. Okay? Kaya pinaka-importante dyan is marunong ka. Okay? So, ito yung limang ito, connected sila. So, dapat alam mo yung objective mo, ano yung susuporta sa objective mo, which is your questions. And then, ano yung sa tingin mo na matututunan mo from this. And then, ano yung technique mo na gagamitin mo para masagot mo yung mga questions na yun at ma-achieve mo yung purpose mo. And then, paano mo sila i-present sa mga tao, sa mga readers. Okay, data interpretation. Research interpretation is defined as an adequate exposition of the true meaning of the material presented in terms of the purpose of the study. Once data are gathered and tabulated, the next step is to analyze it. The researcher must plan how to analyze the data. The best time to develop the analysis plan is when the researcher will be able to identify key evaluation questions and the method of gathering the needed information. It's important to match the analysis strategy to the research problem. That's why meron tayong tinatawag na data analysis kapag meron tayong proposal. Ibig sabihin, alam mo na kung ano ang gagamitin mong statistical treatment. Wala pa man yung data, alam mo na. Bakit? Kasi meron kang instrument. Alam mo kung ano yung mga data na kokolektahin mo. At yung mga datang kokolektahin mo yun ay nakaakma doon sa research questions mo. At ang research questions mo ang magiging basihan mo kung anong klaseng, at yung mga data mo kung anong klaseng statistical treatment ang gagamitin mo. Again, connected pa rin yan sa statistics and probability. So, dapat, alam mo yung statistics and probability naging mahusay ka doon para mas madali mong malaman kung ano ang gagamitin mong statistical treatment sa iyong research. Results and discussion should be systematic, logical, and comprehensive. The discussion should blend together the findings in relation to those identified in the literature review, placed within the context of the theoretical framework underpinning this study. The discussion should be presented in the present tense, unlike in the research methodology which is presented in the past tense. Okay, so steps for data interpretation. First, visit the main and sub-problem. So, kailangan alam mo pa rin saan ka patutungo. Okay? So, lagi kang bumabalik sa SOP mo. Describe the data. So, ito yung data. Ito yung naka-table siya. So, ano ibig sabihin nun? Then, plan for an appropriate way to present the data collected through tabular form, graphical, or any other way. Plug in additional information. Mas maganda yon lalo na kung maraming sumusuporta doon sa result. No? So, lagi kang may mga inferences. Have closure or concluding statements in every data interpretation. Lagi kang may mga concluding statement. O, ito yung nakuha mong number or value. And so, anong ibig sabihin nun? And so, sino nagsabi nun? And so, may susuporta ba dito? So, dapat laging may ganon. Okay, basic analysis of quantitative information. Make copies of your data and store the master copy away. Use the copy of making edits, cutting and pasting, etc. Tabulate the information. Add up the number of ratings, rankings, yes, no's for each questions. For rating and rankings, consider computing a mean or average for each question. For example, question number 1, the average ranking was 2.4. This is more meaningful than indicating example how many respondents rank 1, 2, 3. So, mas maganda yung naka-average sila. Consider conveying the range of answer. Example, 20 people rank 1, 30 rank 2, and 20 rank 3. Kapag masyadong madami. Okay? So, yan. Okay, now, in this part, of this study, ano ba yung result and discussion? Paano siya gagawin? So, i-represent dito yung findings of the research and reasons for the particular results in form of text, figures, graphics, and charts. So, pakita natin. Result. Ano ba yung result? Tells about findings of the research study. So, ito yung naka-tabular, ito yung naka-table, naka-graph, naka-diagram, naka-figure. Presents the data and findings ordered and analyzed in ways justified earlier, which is methodology. Past tense is a feature here. Pwede din siyang present tense or past tense actually. Describe the findings in a simple way with the help of data and figures and tables appears here. Okay, for the discussion, what does the result or data from the experiment mean to us is describing the discussion. Function of discussion is to interpret results in light of what was already known about the subject. So, ito yung table mo. Ano ibig sabihin nun? So, explain your understanding of the problem after taking results into consideration and explain how the result answered the question under study like in mathematics. So, bakit ito yung nakuha mo? Anong reason? So, there should be a conclusion. So, the difference between result and discussion, results score the research or research paper. Data generated by doing research after validation and verification is written. Results are important in answering the objectives and findings of the research, while discussion stating cause for particular results. Discuss the meaning of the results, stating clearly what their significance is, compare the results with their theoretical expectation. Two forms of communicating your findings in research. Pwede siyang verbal and symbolic. For the verbal, this is for more on discussion to. So, describe and narrates the reader what the researcher has done and the results that he or she has obtained. For the symbolic, use a graphic representation, tables, or statistical values. So, symbolic represents the result and verbal represents the discussion. So, halimbawa, this table here is a result. So, a table is an organized set of data which is usually ginagamit siya sa research. No? A table of data elements using a model of vertical column and horizontal rows. The cell is the unit of table where a row and a column intersects. Ayan. So, in this table, Tables are numbered consecutively in Arabic numeral, like table 1, 2, 3. Table number should be written on the top and the caption should be placed at the bottom just right above the table box. So table 1 tapos yung title ng table. And then, in typing tables, never cut table into pages. Tandaan nyo yan. Dapat isang page lamang siya, yung table. Kapag sobrang haba, liitin nyo na lang yung mga text sa table. Okay? Pero dapat yung table sa isang page lang lagi yan. You may decrease the size of the font of your table to fit the size in a short coupon bound paper, or you can use landscape so that you will have the table in the page. Avoid enlarging the font size of your table in order to fit in such page. So, kung naman maraming space, wag mo lalakihin yung basta size 12 lang lagi yung sulat sa table. Pero kapag kulang yung yung space, liliitin mo siya. Basta kailangan sa isang page fitted yung isang table. Hindi pwedeng maputol. Okay. Halimbawa, we have this data here in the table. The title is Frequency and Percentage Distribution of the Participants According to Age. Interpret the information provided within the table, highlighting the important details at the same time answering the specific research question. So, ito yung kanyang interpretation. Table 1 presents the frequency, ito yung title, and distribution of percentage of for the persons according to age. Ito yan, kinopya lang natin. This table shows the age of the students, which is the age of the students, ranging from 14 to 16. So, tinignan natin yung malaki ang frequency. Has the highest frequency of 20, which is 44.44% from the total number of population, which is 45 ang total nila. So, hindi natin sila diniscuss one by one. Pinili lang natin yung modal, yung highest. Okay, yung modal, yeah. Modal age of students, which is 14 to 16. 20 yung mga nandoon. Okay, so ganun lang mag-interpret sa table. So, this table is what we call the result. This one is what we call the discussion. Figure. We sometimes use figure, chart, graphs, and illustration to represent our result. This should be done judiciously. The research reporter must ask himself the following questions. Is the illustration necessary? Does it simply repeat what the text said? Illustrative material should be called figures. The figure number and caption should be centered below the illustration. And the Arabic numeral is written after the word figure, like figure 1, 2, 3, and followed by the period. The caption should be brief and explanatory. Halimbawa, another na ginagamit is chart. A chart is a graphical representation of data in which the data is represented by symbols such as bars in a bar chart, lines in a line chart, or slices in a... Usually, yung ganito, yung chart, pinapakita siya kapag bigger yung population mo. Okay? At saka halimbawa, meron kang pinapakitang mga data na tumataas. Halimbawa, data ng sales. Ayan, tumataas sila, bumababa every day. So, pwede mong gamitin yung chart so that you can represent your result easily. Ayan, graphics naman. Ito, maganda rin tong graphics. The graphic are visual images or design used for pictorial representation of data, like photographs, drawing, graphs, diagrams, symbols, and maps. Purpose of result and discussion. They answer these questions. What's the answer to your problem? What are the implications of your answer? These two questions are the objective of the result and discussion section respectively. So, ano ba yung sagot sa tanong mo? At ano ang gamit ng sagot na yon? No? Para saan siya? So, yun ang lagi niyong tatandaan kapag gumagawa kayo ng results and discussion. So, that's all about for the results and discussion. So, I hope you learned something for this day discussion. Bye!